after you've been probed. Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and today I am delighted to be joined by Sean, Kevin, and Chris. We were just talking about alien abductions for anyone who was wondering. Yes, Celtic 3, Dundee United 0, comprehensive. I think what we'll do is we'll work from the third goal back. For anyone who tuned in at half time, we did speak about the first half. We'll do that again, but we'll work backwards today. And we'll start with Idah getting on the goal scoring journey again with him, because he took a bit of stick the other night, I think, unfairly. But I think a lot of that, Sean, was down to the fact that a lot of us have started to like the idea of Jota, Idah and Kuhn up top. But we can't forget the impact that this man's had this season. I was pointing out, actually, his Champions League campaign. And, he opens his account against Slovan Bratislava. He plays a tremendous part in the nothing each draw against Atalanta. That one man up top. He then forces the goal against Young Boys, and then he gets a couple against Villa. I thought, in terms of a campaign overall, he's done really well. So some of the criticism was a bit unfair, but he gets on the score sheet, and what a goal it was as well.
Yeah, there's a strong argument that he has thrived since Kyogo's left. For example, he probably is not. Well, if he starts today, he's almost definitely not on the pitch after 70 minutes, and he scores his goal in the 84th minute. So if Kyogo is still here, he's probably sitting on the bench at the point when that goal gets scored. But yeah, look, he had a decent overall game. Dundee, he still seems to struggle against that low block. He was really good against Aston Villa when they were, against a more expansive team, a higher line. He does well against Young Boys, high line. But Dundee United just play 11 men in their third. They play so many men in the box, and Idah doesn't thrive against that. But what he was doing in the first half, what he was coming out the box, he was taking a touch, he was turning, but his shots from 20 yards weren't great. But then it does break to him in the 84th minute, and it's not the. You wouldn't say it's like a classic touch, but it was a good touch. It puts it into the space it needs to be, and he curls it. He just whips it into that corner. Like, we all focus on Idah's physicality, his movement, things like that, but maybe something that gets overlooked and not mentioned enough, that he can finish a ball. Like, when you watch back those Aston Villa goals, they're good finishes, the two of them. And the one tonight as well, great finish. He can score a goal when he's confident, and obviously he went through a spell there with low confidence, but he knows how to put the ball in the net when he's firing, and that was one tonight.
Yeah, it was a tremendous goal. I mean, all three of them, actually, when you look back at them, top quality goals. Looking forward to the unique angles, as always. They tried their best to chop it off for a previous tackle by Tony Ralston, of course, Sean. And you're just thinking, wow, what he's all about. It was, in fact, before I come to Kev, that was a really poor refereeing performance today, Sean.
It was really poor. There was, yeah, like, I think everyone, I don't need to comment on too many specifics. I think people picked it, should have been getting advantage, wasn't getting advantage. A lot of soft fouls for Dundee United just hitting the deck. Yeah, it was like, that was the poorest Nick Walsh performance I've seen in a while. Well, Thankfully, it didn't have any bearing on the game. But yeah, it was not a great performance. He did not allow the game to flow. He did not manage the game well, I will say that. No massive controversies, no like silly offsides or silly fouls or penalties or anything like that, but it was poor game management.
I think it's important after a game like today where you've won with no real issues to still call it out, because there might be one week where it has been tighter and we've lost the game because of a really poor decision. I thought he was really bad. I mean, the time where we break up the park and he pulls it back to book the guy who you pinpointed before the game, Sean.
For a booking.
Exactly. And you think to yourself, come on, everybody in the stadium knows you could have let that go, and then pulled it back. We were talking Idah, Kev. Listen, I think against Bayern Munich, the issue that Brendan seemed to have was he wasn't pressing high enough. He wasn't pressing the goalie. In one instance, when Idah was doing his usual pressing machine against their right back, and it came off, but it was probably planned in any case. He starts again today. He gets his goal. It's all round play. It's like Sean says, even if he's not getting in behind the defence so much because of the way they're lining up, he can still pull one out the bag. I remember James French saying to me, I took it for granted, Idah with his height and he's kind of athleticism. He's going to be good in the air, isn't he? And he was like, nah, not really. He'll score most of his goals on the deck, and that's what he did today. And it was tremendous to see him getting another goal. He's flying.
Aye, he kind of epitomises the old cliche of he's got a good touch for a big man, you know, because you do expect big centre forward, he's going to be a physical threat and he's going to win every ball in the air and score goals, score headers. Like he's going to be a Chris Sutton type centre forward for us, but he's not. He's actually a very technically good football player. There's a comment though that Peter Grant makes about 3 times at least in the first half and probably again in the second half. And it's something that we'll not see so much because we're just watching the game on a TV. He's there and he's saying Idah's made a great run in behind the defence there, but the ball isn't getting played. And he does it. He did it so well today actually, because I started to try and watch him after Grant had mentioned it a couple of times, and you can just see like at the edge of the screen, Idah is making the run in behind, even against that low block, but the pass just isn't coming in quickly enough. So I think we needed that more from the centre backs or from the midfielders just to release the ball quicker. But his movement is really good. Like Sean mentioned, the movement for the goals against Aston Villa was excellent. And the finishes, both of them. I mean, the first one, the one where he kind of karate kicks it in from above head height, was quality. He is a very good player. He's got it in him to score goals. He will frustrate because he's not the player that we think he should be because of his height, like you've mentioned. But put him in front of a goal and you're fairly confident he will score. And that goal today, like I'm waiting for it to come back in the highlights here. It was unreal. The first touch, it's maybe not perfect, but it does set him up for the finish, and the finish is perfect. Hurl it into that top corner. And all 3 goals were perfect. I was making a note of this one because I thought Walton, he's a good keeper. And again, Sean's highlighted that before the game or at half-time. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the league in terms of stats and whatnot. We didn't create so many clear-cut chances today. The goals we scored had to be good. And the goal with the highest XG, according to FOTMob, was Callum McGregor's at 0.07. So these are not clear chances. These are excellent finishes that we've had. And they had to beat that keeper. So give him a bit of credit, He is a good keeper. Give United credit that their low, tight defensive line stopped us from getting through and creating the chances that we would like to. But then give us the credit for having 3 players, 3 individuals who've got moments of magic in them and they can pull them out in games like this when we need it.
Yeah.
And Idah's goal was probably the icing on the cake. He'll be unlikely for him to score a better goal than that all season.
But just before it as well, Greg Taylor had a great effort, didn't he? And that would have been a goal of the season contender as well. If Idah doesn't score the goal, we're having a different conversation at the end of the game because it was the icing on the cake, Kev. And someone, Joe Fulham, actually, a regular commenter on the stream, says that the chap's bottom left is more than 16. I think that he is referring to the plaque behind you that looks like it could be a birthday card. But of course, if you know, you know. All you need to ask Joe is your namesake, Joe Ledley, what was his squad number at Celtic? And that's the relevance of the 16 up there behind him as well.
I wish it was, Paul. I wish it was. It's a Daniele De Rossi picture.
Never heard of him.
Ex-Roma player.
Right.
But I wish it was Joe Ledley. That's what it's going to have to be from now on. I'll get another one.
Does De Rossi wish he was Ledley? Is that why? Because we're in 16?
I think that's what it is, Sean. That's exactly what it is.
Of course he does. By the way, not everybody is sharing in our admiration for Adam Idah in the comment section, Chris. In terms of the fact that we've come out a transfer window with 1 striker less than we went into it, I mean, that's just a fact, right? Whether or not people think it's okay, that's what happened. And Maida could have always played through the centre, as Liam Carrigan told us about 3 years ago. A lot of the onus has been on the big man's shoulders. But as Sean said, he seems to have just taken it in his stride, hasn't he? I mean, obviously, the young boys game was the final game Kyogo played for Celtic. Kyogo scored a first half hat-trick that was chopped off. It's a bizarre night all round. And Idah comes in and he uses that strength and he uses that power to force an own goal. And since then, he's been on a decent run. I don't understand the flack in the comments. Is he one of the guys that's always going to get it because of the price tag, do you think?
Oh, we'd hardly be the first, would he? I mean, I think Engels has had it all season as well. Yeah, I think it's just the nature of we're not getting the goal return that I think we sometimes expect from a centre forward at Celtic. We always go back to the Henrik Larsson days or the Lee Griffiths with us going 30, 40, sometimes 50 goals a season. I just don't think this Brendan Rodgers team is geared towards that. And I think Adam Idah is playing a very important role in the system at the moment, and it's working for him. And he actually is starting to get the goals now. Just always seems that he's got something to prove to certain certain elements of the sport. To be fair, today before he scored, I thought the one negative that I was going to take from today's game was the fact that Idah didn't manage to get on the score sheet. But of course, then just as I say that, literally 20 seconds later, he puts that absolute beauty into the back of the net. I agree with what the guys have said. I think he's got brilliant attributes for a striker. I don't think they necessarily marry up with his physical stature, as the guys have said. I mean, there was a lot of crosses thrown in today that he didn't necessarily get an end of. Got on the end of one really good one from Jota, and it was a great save to keep it out. But I think he's got more to his game, more subtle attributes. I mean, he's got decent pace, good strength. I think he's quite good at coming deep. I mean, we were all talking or hearing from Joe Hart, all about Harry Kane and his ability to drop back and help build the play. Well, I think we saw elements of Idah doing that towards the end of the game today as well. He's got different elements to his locker that I think can really help us as a unit. But I don't see him as being the out and out, 20, 30, 40 goal a season striker, which I think is maybe the expectation he's fighting against. I just think, as Brendan's said many times, he wants to build a team where the goals can come from any part of that forward to middle, even from some of the defensive players. He's looking for goals coming from all over the park, and I think the maybe the only downside to that is that for an out and out striker, they're not going to get the same number of opportunities. But to counter that point, Idah's doing everything he possibly can to show that he's living up to that price tag. I mean, all you can ask a striker to do at the end of the day is score goals, and he's doing it. He is doing it, and he's doing it in Europe as well. So I don't get the criticism.
Yes, please.
Yeah, chucking a stat. Idah is currently a goal every 127 minutes. Kyogo's record for this season on the way out is a goal every 169 minutes. So Idah is per minute better than Kyogo this season.
Yeah, and this is the big thing as well. You look at the price tag, and the big thing for me is to bring a player into this squad who's going to make an impression and an impact, a positive impact in the Champions League. What do you expect to pay for a player like that? Idah has done it. Like I say, he made a difference against Bratislava. He forced the own goal against Young Boys. He gets 2 goals against Aston Villa. I hope he scores the opener on Tuesday night as well. But the best performance for me was the one that went under the radar against Atalanta. Basically being up there on his own. It was a thankless task for him. He did all that running, didn't have much of the ball, but it was a very important role that he played, and we got a great result. One of, if not the best results of the campaign. So if you're going to spend 10 million quid or 8.5 rising to £9.5 million on a striker, and he does that in Europe, I don't think you're going to have many complaints. Going back to Chris's point in terms of being a prolific striker, you look at Adam Idah's record before he comes to Celtic, and having never scored double figures for Norwich. What you look at is the season that we brought him in on loan. He'd scored 7 goals for Norwich. He comes to us and scores 9. And that was his season high in senior football, 16 goals. Today, he scored his 13th goal. So in terms of a kind of personal accolade, he's heading towards the most prolific season of his career. And then building on that, Chris, he might be that guy that gets you 20 goals up top. I think a Celtic strike, regardless, and I get what Brendan's saying, is if you over-rely on a striker to get you all the goals, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if that striker is sold, injured or suspended. However, you still, as a Celtic fan, expect your striker to score 20 plus every season. You do. I don't know about you guys, but maybe it's just the way we've been brought up, or even if you look at record books, generally speaking, your strikers scoring 20 plus goals because we create so many chances. But he might not get there this season, but I think moving forward, that should kind of be his target. And today, what a finish that was. It was brilliant.
Oh,
so yes, there are some comments in the chat just now. Let us know, how did you think Adam Idah is playing and has played this season? David comes in. David Gall says, can't believe the negativity towards Idah in the comments. And Celtic follower says, Idah scored a top goal, but did little to convince me he's going to be our number one striker. So yes, the debate rumbles on. Now, Jota gets the man of the match in the stadium. He gets a tremendous goal to make it 2-0. And thankfully for Aidan McGeady, he didn't cry, so Aidan doesn't have to mock him after the game. It's just tremendous. There was a moment where he was doing his fancy footwork, Sean, down the left wing, and I just thought, oh, it's great to have him back. I never ever thought we would have Jota back. And not only that, but a Jota who's still got his best years ahead of him, and we've got him back at Celtic Park. The question I'm going to throw out there, it was an excellent performance. He gets taken off before the end, probably pre-planned. When you look ahead to Tuesday, does he start?
I think the fact that Adam Idah stayed on to the 88th or 89th, whatever it was, minute, I think he probably does. I think Maeda probably starts up front in Munich, and therefore Jota starts in the wing. Also, given the fact that Yang stayed on when Jota came off. So, yeah, I think he was getting taken off to start in Munich. He did have a great first half. I actually didn't. My personal opinion was he was not man of the match. I had him behind two other players. I had actually McGregor doing as man of the match. Jota had a great time when he was on the pitch. Great individual goal that really helped us, because Dundee United were, even at 1-0, Dundee United were still playing the same tactics. So that second goal did make a big difference. And it was a moment of individual brilliance. And he was linking up with Schlupp well before that. But I thought even at 0-0, we hadn't created any real chances. And McGregor that really took the initiative and has a great run, a great finish. And he had a great overall game, really dictating play, driving the play as well, getting forward well. And another player that did well in the first half, but really stood out in the second half, and everything, he was everywhere in the second half, was Luke McCowan, who I thought had a sensational second half of the game, and I actually would have had him ahead of Jota as well, but slightly behind McGregor. But those two were the best players in the pitch for me, McGregor and McCowan.
I agree with McCowan. Your analysis of his performance, I thought he was brilliant today. He's one of the guys. I think up until now, I've probably felt most sorry for Paulo Bernardo when it comes to the lack of minutes in the midfield, because I don't think he's had a bad game, and then he gets that wee niggling injury. But it's all about opportunities, isn't it? With Celtic, Hugo don't bring in a striker, so Adam Idah gets his opportunity. You get an injury in the midfield, Bernardo's not going to be involved on Tuesday night. I don't think he's going to be out for 4 weeks or something like that. And you look at the performance of McCowan, you think to yourself, right, it's just an opportunity for somebody else. And that's tremendous, as long as they grasp it. I agree with you. I thought McCowan was excellent today. On the point of Jota, we've already got the thoughts of Sean. Kevin, when it comes to Tuesday night, Jota starts as far as Sean's concerned. What about you?
Yeah, he starts for me as well. I think this is why we brought him back, was it not? To play him in the big games. He's a big game player, and he gives us something different on the wings that no one else does. You know, if you've got Maeda out there, you've got the industry, the hard work, that work rate, the defensive qualities that he brings in the attacking third, which is great. No one else can do it. Kuhn is very effective on the right-hand side, but hate to say it, you kind of know what he's doing at times. He just likes to cut in field. He doesn't always like to hit the byline. Whereas with Jota, he's excellent with both feet. Will commit a defender to hit the byline. Will commit him to hit inside, cross with the left foot, curl one into the bottom corner with the right. He's a very special player, and I think he just gives us completely different option and ways of attacking on the left-hand side when he plays. So for me, he's got to play. And again, I don't want to give Peter Grant too much, praise for his comments, but he made a really good point again about the way Jota likes to play. He will stand maybe 5-10 yards off his fullback to receive the pass, rather than trying to be on him. So that whenever he gets the ball, he takes it on that half turn, and he gets to run at the defender, Whereas if you're a fullback, you want to be touch tight, so that when the ball comes in, you can put a challenge in or you can put the boy under pressure. Jota's clever, I think, in where he receives the ball because it allows him to build up that momentum, and he's driving and committing the defender straight away. On Tuesday night, we will need players that will be brave enough to do that, to bring that word back in. And I think Jota's got it. And like you say, he can take defenders inside, he can take them outside. He linked up very well today with Jeffrey Schlupp. So that's the other question, whether he plays at left back or whether it's Taylor or if it's Pirlo walking behind me there.
Guest appearance, yes.
Yes, so he's been loud enough, so he's probably been heard by everyone this afternoon, but that's a wee guest appearance. But for me, Jota's got to play. He just offers us something different. He's such a creative force, and we will need that because I think we'll be under the cosh for longer spells than Tuesday night than we normally are. So when we break out, we need to have kind of flair players, creative players that can hurt the opposition, and he's definitely one.
You know, I think the best point you make there is the combination of Schlupp and Jota, and I'd be playing Schlupp on Tuesday night after that performance today, right? And I know he was better in the first half, ran out of steam a wee bit. You know, in the second half, ran out of steam. Taylor came on, looked really good. I was going to say lively. He looked really good when he came on. But I think the combination is, as much as anything, a reason to have the two of them. You know, there's going to be massive periods of that game, I would expect, where we're kind of pinned back and you might have an out ball and you're looking for that person to press and run all night. Listen, that's the definition of Dyson Maeda, isn't it? So if he's your guy through the middle, then Idah sits on the bench and until such times that he's maybe called upon as well. Let's not forget, might go through extra time on Tuesday, guys, as well, right? I mean, I'm ever the optimist. Why not? Why not? And you might need the legs of Maeda and I said Jang there, and Idah as well. There's loads here. We've got Green Eagle Football saying Schlupp must start from here on out. Well, it was a really good performance today for me. Barry O'Sullivan is back in on the YouTube. We definitely start Schlupp on Tuesday. He looks so much better in defence. We spoke about it at half time, Barry. I just think physically he is up to that kind of challenge. There were two challenges in the first half that were excellent, and he hit the post as well. So he's a danger going forward. Taylor comes in and thinks, whatever you can do, I can do better. And he tries to score a tremendous goal as well. So fair play to him. Jungle Lion. People will be, because we're that type of fan base at times, it's like, oh, you know, touch wood, let's not talk about 10 in a row. Why not talk about it? I mean, listen, if it wasn't for that anomaly during the COVID season where we fell to bits, we'd be talking about 20 in a row, mate. So why not talk about it? People will be thinking it's too early and it's entitled and all that. Listen, if we do win it, it's deservingly so. It's because of all the work that's been done on the park, all the business that's been done off the park. So yeah, why not? Why not get the 10 in a row chat? And the people who had printed up all the garments and all the merchandise for the last 10 in a row that we didn't win, hopefully they've kept them in some kind of lockup somewhere. Danny Boy, Schlupp must start on Tuesday. I'm going to come to you, Chris, in relation to the Jota question, which has kind of brought Schlupp into the conversation. Tuesday night, does he start for you?
Yes, he does. Yeah, not in doubt at all. I think you want to really harry and harass the Bayern defence. I think it's, for as talented as that Bayern team are, and, you know, there's no doubting it, right? They're a phenomenal team. Good chance they'll make their way all the way to the final. But if we're going to have any chance against them, we need players who are going to harry, harass, drag the defenders out of position, exploit those spaces. And I think we saw enough from Maeda when he came on in the second half at the game at Celtic Park to say that he's probably the main man to do it. And I think to make the most of Maeda playing through the middle, you need Jota on one side and Kuhn on the other. And I do want to say that's no reflection on Idah's performance or capability. I think Idah will come on and play his part in that game. I think we want to go at them early. And that's why I would play Jota, Maeda and Kuhn. And I actually agree with a lot of the guys in the comments. Ideally, and I don't know if Brendan will think this, but I would play Schlupp from the start. I think there was a lot of promise in the link-up between him and Jota. I think Schlupp also relieved Callum McGregor of some of the defensive burden today, and I think actually he can bring that to the table on Tuesday. And I think there's an experience about him. And I appreciate it's really early in his Celtic career, but he's already bringing a level of assurance to the squad, I think, into the performance. So that would be my quartet, if you like. Schlupp, Jota playing ahead of him, Maeda through the middle, and Kuna on the other side, with Idah more than capable of coming on late in the game if we need him, and I think has the capability, as we've seen today, to make an impact. So yeah, actually some decent selection problems for the manager to have based on today's showing.
Idah coming in for the extra time. Right, okay, you heard it here first. You were talking about bringing
we're
something to the table.
We're going to win it. We're going to win it in normal time. No, none of this extra time nonsense. No,
Two goals clear.
Yeah,
easy.
I'd love to see it. Talking of tables, yes, we are top of the table. People are talking about the 16-point gap. Jungle Lion says it's as good as 17 when you look at the goal difference. 64 other goal difference for Celtic, 32 for second placed Rangers. Aberdeen jumped back up to third place after our defeat of Dundee United, and we've got Motherwell dropping out of the top six, managerless Motherwell, to be replaced by Kilmarnock. I think tomorrow, though, we all know that obviously with Hearts getting the 3 points, they'll leapfrog Killie into sixth place as well. What were I don't know why you're sniggering. What was the results then? Celtic, of course, beat Dundee United 3-0. Dundee 1, Aberdeen 2, back to winning ways for Aberdeen. Kilmarnock beat St Johnstone 3-1. It's not looking good for St Johnstone. And Ross County got a result at Fir Park 3-0. They beat Motherwell. Not sure who's going to be the manager at Motherwell, or if they're going to be sniffing about Callum Davidson, who was at the game actually against Bayern Munich, guys, because I suggested if he had gone on the park, he would have got the biggest cheer of the night as well. Callum Davidson, who is in the running for the Motherwell job? Who's the favourites?
Who's the last one? Is it Stevie? Well, probably Stevie Frail's a favourite, the one that's there right now, but I'm not sure who else.
Bruni's name's always getting chucked in, but I think he came out and said no interested. But it will be. I mean, Motherwell for me are a team that have always been stable. They've been a stable team for many, many years. So a big decision to be made. And also, Kevin, you've just pointed out here as well that Munich are away to Leverkusen today, and that game kicks off in 10 minutes. Tough game before Tuesday. Aye, absolutely. Is it on any of the channels that we could maybe keep an eye on it, Kev?
It's on Sky Sports Football.
Brilliant. Okay. As Django Lion says, 17 points ahead. If you want to count the goal difference, Idah is in the mood for not only proving, but also improving, says Maestro 95. Some footballers like being under the cosh and like getting that kind of pressure, and they respond to it. Other ones, I think, it affects them negatively, whereas Idah looks as though he's quite keen to prove any detractors wrong. Steve-O, 16 points ahead, on for a treble, and some fans still moaning. Well, it's been very positive today on Acsom, and 1,300 of you are tuning in, which is always appreciated. If you haven't done so already, give us a big thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We are very close to hitting 32,000 subscribers on YouTube, and obviously you can watch us on all the other socials as well. If you want to come to one of our events, there's a couple coming up. Next week, we're going to be covering the Bayern Munich game live at Barra's Art and Design. That's free. We have live music at that event, and also a free pie, which brings in the crowd, doesn't it, Kev? I mean, for a free pie, absolutely.
I'd be there. I'm booking flights for Budapest right now, just for the free pie.
Free music,
oh yes,
free punditry, oh yes, fun and games. And we've also got 5-7-3 versus 13 with Bertie Auld on the avatar. Yet another clean sheet. Let's not forget, there's been so many of them this season as well. Right, what about this one then, Sean? I'll ask you first. Since Kyogo left, the team has stepped up and look more dangerous. Truth Seeker 4. Is it a case that Kyogo didn't suit what Rodgers was trying to do, and now the players that are playing suits the system better? What's your thoughts?
I think there's a danger of overthinking that there. I was looking back through some of the early season results, and when we were just playing one game a week, we were smashing teams with Kyogo up front when he was fit. I think it's more that in December and January, we just had a real issue with fatigue and travel and cold weather and all sorts. There was just a lot working against us, and we were looking a bit... we were struggling with those conditions. I don't know that it's anything to do with Kyogo, really, based on the fact that we did look dangerous up until October with Kyogo playing.
Still love Kyogo, Hope the wee man's all right. Yeah, hope he's all right. And at some point in the future, we face whatever team he's going to be with in Europe, because he never got that chance to say a proper goodbye to the Celtic support, did he? John Milan, we have Screamer from Idah. He deserved that. 16 points. Lovely stuff. And Paddy Lavery, keep doing this, Paddy, because if you noise him up enough, he might do what Colin Watt did on Friday and make a long-awaited return. I'm sorry, I've kept my powder dry all year, but I have to blame Jerry Taylor for Nick Walsh's performance as a so-called referee today. He was terrible, was Nick Walsh. Danny Boy, we've got what the hell was that when we were breaking with 4-on-3? Yeah, that was the referee pulling it back. And then the final point going to a fellow Fifer. Hail, hail, boys. Another 3 points. As I write, onwards to Bayern and Munich. Hopefully we can do it. Sounded like Alan McAnally a wee bit there, eh? Bayern and München. Anyhow, could be worse. We could be supporting the team that's sitting second in the division. Anyhow, Paul John, a fellow Fifer from Dunfermline. It's not as bad as people think, John, is it? John, the truck driving legend, still a driving god. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. Guys, obviously, some of you might be joining us on Tuesday night for the game, but give us a wee prediction. How are you feeling about it? Kev McCluskey, I'm going to ask you first. I've said I want to play to try and get that quick goal that we thought we had at Celtic Park, and then we might have to revert back to something a wee bit safer after that. Bring it back to 2-each. Am I dreaming?
Maybe, but there's nothing wrong with dreaming, is there?
No.
Right. So if you don't have dreams, then there's no point in anything. Listen, we're going to be massive underdogs going into a game in Bayern in München. It's going to be tough. But we've played tough games and won them before. So there's absolutely no reason why we can't go into that game with confidence, knowing if we can get the first goal. And the first goal's massive. I think if Bayern get it, then it's probably game over. But if we can get the first goal, we give ourselves a huge chance of going through. So why not? Keep it. If we need to keep it tight, we need to have an Atalanta-type performance. I think defensively, Bayern do have some weaknesses at the back. We exploited some of them on Wednesday night. I think if we do go with the Jota, Maeda, and Kuhn front three, that gives us the pace, creativity, attacking threat to get in there when we get the chances. So why not? It's a difficult game, but players can rise to the occasion, and we'll sneak a 2-0. There we go.
Oh, I love it. This is why Brendan came back, Chris. This is why we've been spending big money on players. It's all about the Champions League and progressing in the Champions League, because we've said it for long enough. You try and target that, then the domestic business almost takes care of itself, because you're setting high standards. How are you feeling about Tuesday night, Chris?
Very similar to Kev, to be honest. I think, well, there's 90 minutes to play. Anything can happen. I've got to be realistic about the level of opposition we're playing at, but this is why we're in this competition. This is why we continually want to sign good players. This is why we continually want the best possible manager. We want to compete at this level. So I would never do anything other than back the team. So I'm going to go for 2-0.
I am loving the positivity here. Sean, you're a realist. Yeah, but you're a football fan. So as Kev says, you can also be a dreamer. You can be a dreamer. I think, listen, my prediction today, nobody has picked up on it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, team. My prediction today was 3-0. It was 3-0. And my prediction on Wednesday night past was 2-2. So what I'm going to say is we need to level that up. Celtic will get the first goal. Right. After that, I'm not sure. Celtic will open the scoring. There's my prediction. Sean, how do you see it going?
I mean, my main takeaway here is when I get over to Budapest, I'm gonna get the number of Kev's dealer, and we're 100 to 1 chance, right? I don't know if that's literally the odds, but we're pretty long odds to go through. Realistically, we're probably going to lose handily by 2 or 3. But as you say, we can dream. I think the formula has to be hold out. Do the Derek McInnes tactic, right? Try and hold out for an hour, and then turn it into a 30-minute game where you're just chucking it forward for 30. In those last ding dong, last 20, 30 minutes, and that could be the chance for us. Get the goal, get the winner. Maybe take it extra time, maybe take it penalties, whatever it needs to be. I'm very hopeful, but realistically, I'm pessimistic.
Well, you mentioned Derek McInnes, and I've got to say this, at the last gig at Gracie's, which Chris attended, we were with John Hartson, Celtic legend, an all-round good guy, John Hartson. And we were in the venue, and as Celtic fans started arriving, Derek McInnes walked past the front door of Gracie's. And he was politely invited in, Chris, by several of the punters who left to go on the pavement and shout him in and summon him in. It was like,
is that what they were shouting? Because it sounded like something else. It really did.
And we, Derek, just put the collar up and kept walking. But there you go, Derek McInnes, yeah. But it brings back to mind that we do have another gig coming up, and these are always great fun. And it's Big Johan. He only comes across to do this kind of thing, I think, maybe once a year. And his Glasgow date is at Gracie's, and it's on the 27th of February, which is in a couple of weeks. And the ticket link is underneath the video as well. And Big Johan talks well as well, Chris. He's very...
excellent,
yeah, because his teammates have said he's been getting better and better. He never had any banter when he was a player, but he started to get a wee bit of that now. He's in great shape as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. Come along and get involved in that night as well. Thanks every single one of you for getting involved. 1,300 strong today on the live stream. And thank you to Sean, Kevin and Chris for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.
Yeah.